Hello, fifth graders. This is Mr. James, and I am back with day 4 of week 8. And we are going to finish reading the U.S. Constitution today. Not the entire Constitution, but a story about the Constitution. So please make sure you have your text in front of you. We're going to start on page 10. We left off finishing page 9 yesterday. And when you finish today, you're going to be writing a summary of the entire book, not just what we read today. And there's a nice little outline that should help you write that summary using sort of the 5 W's to help you do that. And you'll see that after you get done reading. So please make sure you are following along in your text as we read today.
A living document. The ability to amend the Constitution has made it a living document. It changes with the times and with the changing needs of American society. The Constitution was amended before it was even approved by all the states. Some states were worried that the rights of citizens were not protected well enough in the first 7 articles of the document. To solve that problem, James Madison wrote a list of new amendments. 12 of his suggested amendments were approved by the first Congress in late 1789 and sent to the states. 10 of the amendments were approved by the states and became part of the Constitution. Those 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights.
Amendments mean additions or changes to the document.
The most important addition to the Constitution is the First Amendment. It guarantees freedom of speech and religion, freedom of the press, and freedom of assembly. The guarantee of free speech allows people to openly share their opinions, even if those views are critical of the government. There are still some limits to free speech, though. For example, threatening to harm someone or lying while under oath in a court of law are not protected. With regard to religion, the First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. This means that people are free to practice whatever religion they want to, or none at all. It also means that religion and government must be kept separate. Freedom of the press guarantees that journalists can work freely. They can report on government wrongdoing and criticize the government. Freedom of assembly guarantees that citizens have the right to gather together peacefully. This freedom allows Americans to hold protests and rallies for or against causes. Other important protections for citizens are included in the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments. The 4th Amendment prevents police or government agents from searching people's homes unless they have a sound legal reason to do so. The 5th and 6th Amendments spell out protections for people accused of crimes. The 10th Amendment states that any powers not given to the federal government go to the states. This amendment is the reason so many laws, such as those for public education and state taxes, are different from one state to another. Over the years, 17 other amendments have been added to the Constitution. Among those amendments are ones ending slavery, granting African Americans and women the vote, and creating a federal income tax. Only one amendment has ever been canceled. In 1933, the 21st Amendment canceled the 18th Amendment. That amendment, adopted in 1919, made the manufacture, sale, or transport of alcoholic beverages illegal. The legacy of the Constitution. The U.S. Constitution has served as a model for many other constitutions around the world. But the Constitution is not without problems. One of its major flaws was that it allowed slavery to continue. Slavery only ended after the Civil War through an amendment. Some people have argued that giving every state 2 votes in the Senate is also a problem. They say it gives states with fewer people a voice in Congress far beyond what is fair. Another criticism centers on the Electoral College. To win a presidential election, a candidate must win a majority of the electoral votes. This system of electing a president makes it possible for a candidate to win the popular vote but lose the election. That has happened 5 times in presidential elections, including the elections of 2000 and 2016. The writers of the Constitution did the best they could at the time. They created a document that, whatever its problems, has lasted for well over 200 years. Today, the Constitution continues to define how the government of the United States works. When it falls short of fully meeting the needs of the people, they can amend it. This living document will hopefully guide the United States for centuries to come. Connections. Writing.
All right, so as the text talks about it being a living document, hopefully you understand the fact that the idea of a living document means that it can be changed or amended. There are going to be things added to it. There can be changes made to it based on what the people in the government decide that they want to have done. Today, as I said, you're going to be writing a summary. Now, there's a nice little format here to help you with your summary, in which it says to fill in the boxes below based on information from the text. Then use it to write a summary. So you're going to answer the questions of who is the text about? What is it about? When is it about? Where does it take place? Why was the text written? And then you'll compile that information into a maybe 2 to 3 sentence summary that will include all that information you just answered there. So that's what goes in that summary box at the bottom. Then you have a quiz over that. And then your last question on that quiz is an extended response. Now for writing today, you're going to go back and you're going to read that rough draft that you wrote, and you're going to do a revision. So what we want to have you do is to go through the checklist that is provided to you. And as you're going through the checklist, go back and reread your rough draft and make sure you did those things. And after you've made sure that you did that one thing, you put a check mark by it. Now, if you didn't do it, which you should have some mistakes or errors made, it is a rough draft after all. We want you in a different colored pen or pencil, hopefully different than the one that you used yesterday to add your details. We want you to make changes and go ahead and write those in there. Remember, this is a rough draft, so you can cross things out. You can draw little arrows and add in information. You can change words. You can do whatever you need to do based off of the revision checklist. I highly suggest, if possible, to have an older sibling or a parent read through your rough draft and go through the checklist also to kind of help you with some of that revision, often like we do with a peer editing in our own classroom. And then after that, you'll be done for today and you'll be ready for tomorrow when you'll write your rough or your final draft. As always, please let me know if you have any questions or need anything. Hopefully you're having a great day, and I will talk to you again soon.